Yeah, he did. I'm watching him right now. He's trying to tweet and he cannot do it. Good morning, everybody. Today, the topic is to ban or not to ban. Should he have been banned? And if there's a consensus on should he have been banned, what are the implications of banning him? Are you now aware of the power that these media companies have? So whether or not you agree with the banning is, I think, irrelevant for me. Irrelevant because why do you now care about someone being banned from a platform just because of who this person may be, right? Or the power that he may wield, or how much you like this person or don't like this person? Why do you now care? I mean, I say, I mean, like, people might think that's hilarious. I say this as a troll, as in, like, I use the word troll lightheartedly because in my life, I've been banned from so many things. And I now realize a lot of this has to do with me being on the autism spectrum. What would historically have been referred to as Asperger's, and they've done away with that term in America, but in other countries, they still use the term Asperger's. And a lot of me being banned, I've now realized, which is quite common amongst other autism or Asperger's people, is that we're often ostracized from groups for having different opinions, or just simply seeing the world in a different way, right? And when we express that honest opinion, we're shut out or outcast from the group. And yeah, I could be guilty of that too, right? I could be in the majority and someone has the anti-majority opinion, and we all look at this person like, what the hell's wrong with him or her? And so I'm well aware of getting banned from platforms and forums and groups and not fitting in my whole life. And so when somebody gets banned from somewhere and then they're like, "Oh my god, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me," because generally speaking, people don't go around getting banned or fired from jobs, right? For me, it's like, dude, every 2 3 jobs a year, big fucking deal, right? So when when someone gets banned from something, for them, oh my god, my life is over. This is like losing my phone. Speaking of phone, I haven't had paid for cell service since 2010. So for about a decade, I haven't been tied to a phone. How do you survive, you might ask? Well, easy. I have a free Google Voice number. And if I just so happen to turn on a phone for 30 days, I'll forward that Google Voice number to the cell phone I turn on or wherever I need it to go. So thank you, Google. I'm not a paid employee. And even if they wanted to hire me, I'm not for sale, Google. I'm sorry. Google, yeah. I'm so thankful for Google, actually, for so many things. Um, it's ironic I'm about to talk shit about them. Google, Apple, Amazon, Twitter, they all brought the ban hammer down on Donald Trump in the last 24 hours, right? The big one was Twitter, because Twitter is Donald Trump's favorite platform. They not only banned, they deleted his account. Um, if I'm not mistaken, and the interesting article I wanted to bring up is Twitter shares sync after Trump's account deleted. Now that was somewhat, it's not surprising, but it was somewhat unforeseen on my part, at least. I was like, well, I didn't see. I mean, that's interesting. Uh, and it's interesting to see if that causes them to reverse course at all, because money talks, public companies talk. Well, I mean, not public companies talk. I mean, public companies listen to their shareholders. you know. So, but that aside, what I wanted to focus on is banning and what it means to me. Been banned from so many online forums, sometimes rightly, most times, in my opinion, wrongly. And well, I learned a lot from quote unquote trolling online, or what it people we don't need to, but the thing is we have different definitions of troll. Because I've been accused of a troll, I've just kind of accepted the term. People call you something for so long, you're just okay, I'm a troll. When I go online, I'm literally expressing my opinion. I'm not purposely trying to stir up arguments. Now, Now, there's a big difference in if the effect of me expressing my honest opinions inflame other people because they seem to have differing opinions, that can look like the behavior of a troll, and the intent is different. Now, trolls, they they purposely try to start flame wars, meaning trolls will go in and purposely try to argue with people and purposely try to play devil's advocate for some ulterior motive. Maybe they just get off on it, and that's the ulterior motive. Maybe they've been paid by somebody else to go in and rile up a forum. Okay, and and I'm not saying there's none of that in me. Sometimes there's just uh, if you can relate, sometimes there's just this destructive force in us. For the other kids that like to play with fire, that just like to light things on fire and blow them up, I think it's the same reason all men just gravitate towards weapons and guns and like to shoot things and blow them up. We just like to light things on. I say we, I say me. I don't know. Maybe there's other people like me. And I don't even know why I brought that up. Maybe I was trying to relate to the troll, in that trolls like to blow things up. And so there's just some element of fun that I can relate to the troll. But for the vast majority of the time, I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just like, well, I see things in a very, very realistic way, to where many people are attached to their own opinions, viewpoints, and values, and that's what shapes their perspective on any event. You know, like a building gets blown up, right? Immediately, if it's on U.S. soil, people will immediately start forming opinions about who did what and what. And I think, for me, I don't know if it's an autistic quality, but I'm starting to believe that it is that, well, when that happens, I'm more, I think I receive things more objectively, and any reasonable feelings that should occur may or may not happen, and if they do, they might come later. The feelings don't work the same way. I'm like really able. It's a strength in some ways. It's a weakness in many ways. Weakness in the social arenas, you know, like when you're supposed to have a reaction and people expect a reaction and you don't. It's a big weakness in social. But let's imagine in a game like poker, where that might come in handy, right? Not completely not even having an emotion that you're supposed to have in a situation, or being able to display the complete opposite emotion, which I've now found out why I may not be any good at online poker. Okay, but in discovering that I'm somewhere on the autism spectrum, I've discovered why I think I might be a very good live player. Because and I even try, you know, we all realize our weaknesses, right? We all, well, not we all, anybody who's somewhat self-aware will realize their awkwardness in certain situations, right? Some people are so awkward and also ignorant of their awkwardness, though. Wouldn't you agree? Like, you know, so maybe some people are not aware of their social awkwardness. The thing is, because I've been able to be aware of it, I could fix it and address it and get better at it over time, and then do well in social situations. Back to getting banned, though. You know, I try not to care too much about politics, especially, you know, when we're just trying to survive, when we're just trying to go out there and pay our rent. It's like some of these things, yeah, they do affect us. They do affect us greatly. But I try to go out there and just focus on work, and sometimes the news is just entertainment. We already voted. We did what we could. What watching the news and caring is actually not moving my business and my projects forward, or my clients, or my boss. And so when I saw that Donald Trump got banned from Twitter, right? There's a lot of people that are haha funny. A lot of people agree, disagree, and on the meta level, I think regardless of however you feel about Trump, you love him, you hate him, I don't care. I I I'm a little bit worried about. Yeah, okay. Objectively, I think he has a lot to do with inciting the violence, right? And because you can go further and say he could have even stopped it, right? Like, let's say, it's kind of like a car wreck. Like, who caused what? Sometimes you split the blame in a car wreck 50-50. Yeah, this guy ran into you, but maybe you were speeding and ran a red light, and he wasn't. And you both weren't supposed to be doing what you did. Split the blame, right? It's like you can't blame him because the people still did what they did, so they have responsibility. But it's kind of like letting a train run over your grandmother, right? Like, if you don't do anything to untie your grandmother, if you're like, haha, grandma, eat it, and then the train runs over your grandma, um, so we get into some philosophical arguments there. Um, that being said, I was a philosophy major, so I do feel qualified to speak on that, but the average person probably isn't, or wasn't, or may not be interested to go down that path. Um, so let's just say it's arguable. Did he incite violence? Did he not incite violence? To what degree? And and on one hand, yes, a private company can set rules as to whatever they want. You do this. You throw baby powder on your armpit, and you can't use our platform. Whatever. Your private company, you could do whatever. But like, when the two or three largest social media companies that kind of collectively equal free speech, right? When, like, Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter combine their powers to silence any one person or entity, I'm like, damn. Like, that's like a monopoly on media and silence power, right? Like, damn. Like, if you got silence from one, at least you could go to the other. And then, what when the guy obviously, and I say obviously, there are a lot of people that disagree and are still on his side. So I kind of want to keep this more objective. But, like, when I objectively see he did something bad, I'm like, well, yeah, he violated. Like, because I've gotten banned so many times, I just move on. Whether it's fair or not, you move on. It's a way of life. You get the fuck over it. You got banned and you find a new thing to do. Okay? You explore the reasons you got yourself banned. Okay? He just so happens to have a lot of followers that care, and massively, right? And that they will storm the Capitol for him. I never had that for me. I've gotten banned from every spiritual or psychology forum that exists online, and literally every, like, I'm an INTP forum has banned me at least 5 or 6 times. The forums that I've liked, I've been banned multiple times under different identities, and I would even get a VPN to log on from different IP addresses to get back, because I'm a natural. I can't explain it sometimes, because I couldn't. It's like the kid that can't get into the treehouse, right? He keeps trying to get back in. He can't figure out why they won't. Sometimes I was like, look, I'm not actually breaking any rules. Very often I'm just a difference of opinion, and I feel ganged up on. And then they find some rule, like, oh, I'm being annoying, I'm being spamming, and oh, it's troll like behavior, and so they can use labels to box you in. And So yeah, it might look like I have Donald Trump's back in this case. Perhaps like if I'm on the Supreme Court, it's not that I have Donald Trump's back exactly. It's more like I'm protecting a much larger, and I'm not like angry. People are like, you should be getting angry. I'm just like, it's not about feelings. I don't like angry. I'm just like, I see the problem. This is a big problem that three or four companies, entities, right? Like the four CEOs or majority shareholders of those companies get together and they say, silence this motherfucker, and silence overnight, right? Like, and then Stripe. Didn't even talk about Stripe. This is interesting, very interesting. Stripe, like one of the largest payment processors, stopped processing payments for the Trump campaign website. Uh, um, the interesting thing is that this is exactly like what they did to online poker, right? They banned poker from the U.S. And they do it in a very interesting way. They ban poker by cutting off their means to transact money, and that's what really drove the poker, killed a lot of the poker sites, is that they went after the banks and they shut off the bank's ability. But when Bitcoin came around, online poker came back strong and hard, and it's currently well within that surge because the U.S. can control the money, right? Well, they can control the banks, right? The U.S. can put laws in place and tell the banks you can and can't do that, and the banks have to listen. And so that killed online poker, right? Because online poker is already offshore. But then when Bitcoin came around and made money just easy flow of resources back and forth, banks can't control. Nobody can really. I mean, I don't want to say nobody, but very much more hard, difficult to control the flow of Bitcoin, and because dollars have to go from some kind of federal controlled or regulated institution, right? Dollars have to, and but Bitcoin never has to turn into a dollar, right? Bitcoin is some just digital currency, right? That somehow has been architectured in the back end to just be able to flow like that. I don't have to understand how it works to use it. I gotta sign off, guys. 9 a.m. I got another meeting. Peace out. Anything I want to leave you with? A lot I didn't talk about, but dang, man, I can ramble forever. Peace out. We'll see you later. Later means tomorrow.